Alright, as a liquidity integrity management part 195, March 18, 2003, code section 195.42J1 and 2, pipeline integrity management icons area J. What is the commercial continual process of evaluating assessment maintained with the pipeline integrity general after completion of the pipeline integrity assessment? The operator must continue to step the line of the pipe specified interval of the periodic evaluate integrity of each of the pipeline segment that could affect the high constant error evaluation. Operator conduct with the periodic evaluation continue with the shrimp pipeline integrity. Operator must have the frequency of the evaluation risk factors that could specify the pipeline. Factors on the paragraph E, the section evaluation must give the result baseline periodic integrity assessment information. Allowance paragraph G, the section of the decision all about the remediation prevent the mitigated measure paragraph H and I, the section. Origin code 195 7065 Federal Register 75378 December 1st 2000 last amendment to 19587 72 Federal Register 3901 2 January July 17 2000 17 advisory bulletins establishing maximum allowable operating pressure even the recorded evidence management, risk identification, assessment, prevention, mitigation, PHMS, integrity bulletin, and remind operative with the gas have the liquid pipelines responsible for the use on federal integrity management and integrated management regulations, perform a detailed threat and risk analysis, integrate accurate data information with the entire pipeline system, especially when calculating maximum level operating pressure, maximum operating pressure, utilize the risk analysis, identification, appropriate assessment method, prevent mitigated measures, and then notice that a liquid pipeline operative requested voluntary advice and those advice intent with the transport biofuels PHMSA is requested to have liquid pipeline operator intending with the transport ethanol, gasoline, and with the other biofuels pipeline voluntary provided advice and notice with the intent of the transport of these fuels to facilitate cooperation achieving sufficient safety when requesting operator intent into field test transportation biofuels biopipeline notified the PHMSA such testing in advance of the PHMSA can work on with the operator with the safety concern with the arrival of the PHMSA and jurisdiction. The discussing step of the operator will take the ensure the safety during the testing information, informing local emergency responsible officials about the product being tested. Other material references and material sources. LAPL 1160, the managing system and integrity management had liquid pipelines, latest edition, spike hydrostatic test evaluation, low specific flat longitudinal seam evaluation, section 5.0, pipe wrinkle study, section 3.0. Those are all Michael Baker's dent study, section 4.0, Michael Baker's stent corrosion. Cracking study, section 6.0, Michael Baker, mechanical damage, section 2, Michael Baker, PHMS, liquid integrity management, supplementary guidelines, continual process evaluation, assessment part 195, appendix E, 4, type of the internal inspection tools used, the PHMSA, had liquid integrity management, frequently asked question, can the operator use the risk assessment if data to defend longer intervals between the integrity assessment, once the baseline, and believe the operator be able to use their continuing evaluation process, identify preliminary threat and schedule assessment accordingly, even if that means conducting metal loss, the deformation inspection of different intervals. 60, the different requirements of the inspection pipelines could highly volatile liquids are different requirements of inspection overhead suspension pipeline bridges. 611A, what type of the other technologies can be used in integrated assessment other than internal inspection pressure tests. 811, what kind of information must be integrated to perform periodic evaluation risk assessment internal determinations. Kinds of information. 195.452F require the operator to develop the process to periodically assess the evaluate pipeline integrity of the 195.452J. Provide more specific requirements of the 195.4 J1 general statement in the original ongoing process of the evaluation pipeline typically they can affect with the high quantity of conducting peer assessment on the segment is essential with the same the requirements of the statute say the 195.452 F3 in general the operator has no periodic evaluation system prior to the 195.452 F105 and J1 should be or J1 195.452 J for the 5 subparagraphs 195.452 J2 describe the periodic evaluation pipeline integrity J3 describe the requirements of the assessment intervals J4 to advise situation variances from 5-year assessment interval to be allowed with the J5 over the methods that can be used with periodic assessment. If the deficiency act with the periodic evaluation interval determination assessment method selected, these should be cited in 195 J3, J4, J2, J3, or J5, respectively. 195 J2 require the operator to periodically evaluate the integrity of the segment of the high consequence of the frequency of the evaluation performed based on the risk factors. So if the spam pipeline could be the 195 442E, the operator to be able to periodic evaluation 195 442 J2, so it should be cited like the other adequacy of the deficiency associated with the frequency with the periodic evaluation. Form 2 would be cited with the 194.42 J2. J2 also have the information for the conducting the periodic evaluation, including the requirements of paragraph E, the result of the integrity of the assessment with the information for risk analysis 194.452 G, the discussion of remediated preventive mitigations actions 194.42 H, and I respectively operator failed to consider the information source of the periodic evaluation 195.42 J2 should be cited similarly with the adequately deficiency periodic evaluation result 195.42 J2 cited. Alright, the information risk analysis provided described 195.42 inspection of the risk analysis, periodic evaluation, integrity of the deficiency, adequate citation, generally 195-452J3 to have the information risk analysis, adequate deficiency, same information risk analysis, prosecute to prevent mitigative measures, other integrated management determination of decision, generally preferable, like 195-452G, and then it goes over your final order, example, the probable violation, and adequate procedures, 195-452J, the periodic evaluating integrity could affect the constant area, 194-52J2, the failure to implement the periodic evaluating integrity pipeline that could affect the high constant area, 3, the failure to establish the frequency which evaluating integrity of the segment of the code affect the high constant area, 4, adequately consider the risk factor of the session frequency evaluating integrity segment that could affect the high constant area. This includes the risk factor 194-452E, 5, failure to perform periodic evaluation integrity of the frequency, establish operative procedure, 6, failure to periodic evaluation integrity of the risk information available, the indication of such an evaluation should be performed, 7, failure to the result of the personal previous integrity assessment, including the baseline of the most recently completed integrity assessment periodic evaluation pipeline integrity, 8, failure to correct and consider information risk analysis required in 195-452G of the periodic evaluation process, 9, failure to the decision action pipe or remediation required with the 195-452H periodic evaluation process. Alright, the result of the action taken the result of the preventive mitigated measurement process of the 195-452I with the periodic evaluation process. The 11th, failure to show the non-routine evaluation pipeline risk information degradation performance available to indicate the integrity evaluation should be performed. Depending on the circumstance of the example, the list section should be inadequate plans are perceived as non-probable, thus the enforcement to address the issue with the no submit the non-probable violation or warning letter. Section 3, enforcement perceived evidence of selecting the appropriate enforcement action. Example, the evidence integrated management plan or program or portion show the emission deficiency profit periodic evaluation pipeline integrity assessment with a high concern area that would possibly the other documentation period describing the periodic profit integrity evaluation. 3, engineering analysis to determine the frequency of the periodic integrity of the evaluation with the factor of the making determination for the document periodic evaluation profit to show the emission deficiency information you would inform information risk analysis if the information risk analysis process. 5, records demonstrate the deficiency adequate the periodic integrity evaluation profit the information evaluating process include the record including the case of the previous integrated assessment result aware of the adequate consideration periodic integrity and evaluation profit for the records including previous decision of remediation were not adequately considered the periodic integrity evaluation process. Records indicating the information risk analysis results were not adequately considered the periodic integrity evaluation process. 8, records indicating the result of the preventive mitigated measures process was not adequately considered the periodic integrity evaluation process. 6, documentation conversation operated with the control contractor person. The other inconsistency adequacy regarding the information used in the periodic evaluation, access of the process of the methodology. 7, indicate the procedure of the periodic integrity evaluation, all other special notations. Liquid integrity management part 195, March 18, 2013, 195-452, J3 pipeline integrity management, high content areas. What are the continual process? What is the continual process evaluation assessment? Maintain pipeline integrity assessment interval. The operative must establish 5 intervals not exceeding 68 months for the continually assessing line pipeline integrity. Operative must assessment interval, the risk line posed the high of the consequent area, determine the priority assessing of the pipeline, the operative must establish assessment interval based on the factors specified in paragraph E of this section, and also resolve the last integrity of the assessment of the information analysis required by the paragraph E of this section. Origin code 195-7065 Federal Register of the 75378, December 1st, 2000. Last amended 195-8772 Federal Register 39012, July 17, 2000. Integrated interpretation advisory notice bulletin notice summaries. Establishing maximum level operating pressure, maximum operating pressure with the record evidence, integrity management, risk identification, assessment, prevention, mitigation. PH line, PHMSA, the issue of the advisory bulletin. Remind operative of the gas ads for liquid pipeline facility responsible for the federal integrity management, integration management relation to the performance of the detail of the threat analysis, integrate accurate with the data information for the entire pipeline system, especially with the calculating maximum allowable operating pressure, maximum operating pressure, then utilize with these risk analysis, identification, appropriate assessment method, and prevent and mitigate measures. And notice that liquid pipeline operative request the voluntary advance notification intent of the transport biofuels. PHMSA is required to liquid pipeline operative intent of the transport or ethanol gasoline blends with biofuels by pipeline voluntary to provide the advance notice of the intent of the transport of the fuel facility contributing for safety with the request of the operative to identify the field test transportation biofuels pipeline, notify PHMSA such testing in advance of the PHMSA can work with the operator to address the safety concern of the arrival of the PHMSA interested. Discussing steps of the operator will ensure that the safety during the testing information local emergency response officials about the product being transported. Other reference to API 60 managing system and information had a liquid pipeline spike hydrostatic testing of evaluation report. Use the inline inspection tool with the assessment pipeline integrity general physics June 2002 overview integrity assessment of the Robert J. Eber Consultant, Incorporated, November 2003. Low frequency longitudinal seam evaluation selection 5.0. Pipe wrinkle study section 3.0. Dent studies 4.4.0. Stress corrosion cracking section 6.0. And reporting use inline tools of the assessment pipeline integrity General Physics Corporation, June 2002. All right, mechanical damage section 6.2. Physics pipeline hazard liquid integrity manual supplementary guidance for continual process evaluation assessment. Part 1 and 5 is Appendix C4 type of the internal inspection tools. Federal Register Volume 65232. Federal December 1st, 2000 Rules and Regulations, page 75387 and 75388. Pipeline hazard liquid integrity management frequency. Ask question 47. What must the operator consider prioritizing pipe assessment reassessment? 5. The often integrity assessment of the performed pipelines with the effect of the high conflict effect of the pipeline system completed. 5.2. The requirement of the operator established the inspection interval of 5 years of the 5 calendar years pipe assessed in 2003 must be assessed in 2005 or 5 actual years. Must the operator consider the reassessment before they completed all baseline assessment? Can a reassessment interval be scheduled beyond 5 years? Get an 8.5. Integrate gas integration management rules include the provision waiver the reassessment interval necessary to maintain the product supply of the PHMSA pipeline, considering willing to extend the same similar provision hires the liquid operators. However, the consideration be handled. 5.10 5.9. Once the baseline assessment is completed, the operators will use the continuing evaluation process to identify the primary threats and schedule the assessment accordingly, even with the means of conducting metal loss deformation inspection for intervals. 4 to 5.10. What difference between the critical evaluation required with the 195-452J of the process determining reassessment required in 195-452J3? All right, how does the not exceeding the 68 months of the assessment internal provision of the revised continual assessment interval the requirements of 195-452J3 for the maximum 5-year interval for assessment? How does the not exceed the 68 month assessment provision revised continual assessment interval requirement 195-452J3 differ from the maximum 5-year interval of assessment 6.2. 8.11 the information integrated with the performing periodic evaluation reassessment intervals. Guidance information 195-452J3 require the operator double the interval to conduct assessment the interval risk based to review the risk with 195-452E and the information risk analysis 195-452G to determine the interval the operator recover the result of the last integrity assessment, which should be as part of the complete and correct information risk analysis 195-452G. If it's double the maximum interval is not to see the 68 month of conducting interval assessment. If the operator failed to establish integrity assessment interval within 195-452J3, which should be cited. If the operator established assessment interval did not be the decision 195-452J3 should be cited. For instance, if the operator established the risk assessment interval of the maximum allowable 5 years provided the not risk-based decision 195-452J3 should be cited. If the operator established assessment interval based on the risk does not include the risk factor identified in 195-452E does not justify the exclusion of the risk required risk factor, the 195-452 should be cited. If the operative is established an interval that does not consider the result of the all previous assessment 195-452J3 should be cited. If the risk information risk analysis defined in 195-452 is informed assessment interval documentation with the applicant risk analysis the assessment interval the determination of the deficiency adequate citation generally with 195-452J3. Alright, operators may determine the assessment interval within 5 years, probably 4 lines for some line segments have the internal is 5 exceed 5 years additional requirements above the 195-452J4. Generally, if there is issue the inspection interval greater than 5 years, 195-452J4 should be decided. If 195-452J3 is not just method integrity assessment issue related to the selection and guidance integrity assessment method should be generally set with the 195-452J5. This assessment interval determination assessment method selection often determined periodic evaluation 195-452J3. Your final order referencing we're not going to read. And then example probable evaluation and adequate procedure for establishing interval of the future with integrity assessment. Failed to perform integrity assessment adequately consider the risk determination assessment interval 4 failure adequately consider all required risk factor 195-452 determining assessment interval 5 adequately consider the result of the most recent integrity assessment even the information risk analysis during assessment interval 6 defaulting the 5-year maximum assessment interval of technical justifications of the interval will not jeopardize integrity. 7 failure to adequately consider the risk of each segment that could affect with the high company errors establishing assessment intervals. Alright, depending on the circumstances of the example listed within the section below, the adequate plan of the procedure, the probable violation, the enforcement tool, the draft of the issue, the no submit not knows probable violation warning letter, section 3 enforcement procedure, the provide the guidance and selecting the appropriate enforcement action. Alright, example evidence. The integrity management plan program and applicable portion show the image of the deficiency, the determination assessment interval, the procedure, the documentation describing the appropriate assessment interval, the determination assessment schedule for engineering risk analysis, determine the frequency of the integrity assessment, include the risk and consider the make of the determination Regular assessment internal determination that should be required risk of the result of the last integrity and assessment and the result of the information risk analysis were not adequately considered. 6. Recommend demonstrate the efficiency and accuracy of the assessment interval determinations of the documentation concerned conversation with operator with the contractor personnel identify the inconsistency adequacy of the regarding the information used in assessment interval determination. 8. The record indicating the perceived determinal and assessment interval that were not followed other special notations. Alright, moving on. Hazardous liquid integrity management part 195, 7th March 18th, 2013, and 195 day 4 of pipeline integrity management, high content area within J. What continual process of evaluation assessment maintain pipeline integrity variance for the 5-year interval limited situation engineering basis of the operator may be able to justify engineering based on the longer assessment of the interval of the segment line, but the justification must be sort of reliable engineering evaluation combined with the use of the other technology, the external monitoring technology of the outside can understand additional line pipe equivalent which can be obtained with the assessment method allowed within J5 of the section. The operator must notify the office of pipeline safety in 250 days before the end of the 5-year less interval justification longer interval for both alternative interval. The operator may send the notice of the approved draft specified in paragraph M of the section. Unavailable, the technology operator may record the long-term assessment period for a segment of the year. For example, because the sophisticated internal inspection technology is not available, the operator justify reasonable but cannot comply with the required assessment period. They must demonstrate the action taken and evaluate integrity of the pipeline within the interim. Operator the notes notify operational pipeline safety 180 days before the end of the 5 years period or less interval. The operator may record a longer assessment interval to provide an estimate. Assessment can be completed. The operator must send the notice for the address specified in paragraph M of this section. Origin code 195 7065 Federal Register 75378 December 1st 2000. Last amended 195 8772 Federal Register 39012 July 17, 2000. Interpretation summaries advisory bulletins. Alright, establishing maximal law of the operating pressure of the maximum operating pressure review of the record evidence integrity management risk identification and assessment prevention mitigation. PHMSA is issuing the advisory bill to remind operating gas have the liquid pipeline of the responsible for federal integrity management integrated management regulations to perform the detailed risk threat risk analysis for the integrated with the correct accurate data information entire pipeline system, especially calculating maximum law of the operating pressure of the maximum operating pressure level of the risk and threats analysis for the identification property assessment that prevent the negative measures. Notice for the header liquid pipeline operator to recover the voluntary provides notification for the intent of the transport biofuels. PHS says requirement that header liquid pipeline operator intended with the transport ethanol, the ethanol, gasoline, blend or biofuels by pipeline voluntary provide advance note of the intent of the transport of the fuel facility cooperating the achieve the safety of the request for the operating intent of the field test of the transportation biofuels by pipeline with the PHMSA. Such testing in advance of the PHMSA can work with the operator to draft for the safety of the arrival of the PHMSA will interested in discussing this. The operator will take it to ensure the safety during the test and informing local emergency response officials about the product being tested, transported. Other reference material, the APL of the 60 management system integrated has the liquid pipeline, PHMSA, liquid integrity management, supplementary guidance, continuing process evaluation assessment, Federal Register, volume 65, number 232, Friday, November 1st, 2000, rules and practice regulate, page 75399. PHSA had the liquid integrity management frequently asked questions of the new rule 195.58 permit operator the direct assessment of the threat with the stress erosion cracking. 623 of the guy with the wave of the ultrasonic the ECDA process consider the other technology requiring notification. 612 does 625 does close interval survey overline survey qualify for the other technology. 12.6 what pipeline safety reviewer operator notification formula operator with the bill PHMSA pipeline safety communicate response specific communication notification broader industry. 12.7 how will the operator know the PHMSA pipeline safety objective notification and guidance information. Alright, 195.452J to identify the two situations maximum assessment with the interval of 5 years. See the subparagraph of the 195.452J1 which of the engineering analysis consider the interval technical justification extent of the interval may be support the reliable engineering evaluation. Furthermore, the operator mentions some of the other technologies such as the external monitoring provide the understanding of the condition of the pipe equivalent can be obtained with the provide approved method specified 195.452J5. Finally, operate with the PHMSA 200 days before the end of the over the 5 year or less interval, the justification longer interval, the proposed alternate interval. The preamble final rule state for the emergency engineering based exemption include the rule encourage the use of the advanced alternative technology and the type of the use of the opportunity operative the employ of the advanced alternative technology should be dictated by the use of such technology extended limited exemption of the interval 5 years or less not to exceed additional 2 years when possible. Federal Register, Volume 65, Number 232, Friday, December 1st, 2000. Rules and Regulations 7539. If the 195 452J42 allow the operator to exceed the 5 year maximum interval of the technology used in connecting the assessment with the operator must the reason comply with the required assessment period, they must determine the action for the taken evaluation, particularly determine the situation. Must notify the PHMSA 180 days prior to the end of the 5-year interval. This notification must be provided the estimate of the assessment can be completed after as of September 2012. They have no final order citing 195-450J for only direct amendment summarized below. And for example, the probable violation adequate procedures. If an operator extended the assessment of the interval beyond 5 years of the failure to include the provisions of the integrated management, the developing engineer based along an assessment interval to notify the PHMSA 270 days before the end of the current assessment interval. Failure to include the provision one of unavailable technology required longer assessment of interval 2 notify the PHMSA 100 days before the end of the current assessment interval and integrated management failure to notify the PHMSA 270 days prior to the end of the year or last interval. The assessment interval will exceed 5-year limit. Or failure to provide reliable engineering evaluation justification extension assessment of the interval beyond 5 years. Assessment interval exceed 5 years. When the extended assessment interval for the engineer based failure to describe the technology, the action of the operator provided the understanding of the pipe application for the equivalent to which could be examined with the method of 195-452J5 of the other provide the alternative assessment interval that is proper for the notification PHMSA elbow for the engineering and unavailable technical variancy. Failure to notify the PHMSA at least 180 days prior to the end of the 5-year or other interval will assessment interval will be exceeded with the because of the unavailable technology. Alright, 8. When extending the assessment interval to be because of the unavailable technology, justify the proposed assessment technology unavailable to describe the action of the operator to take and determine the integrity. Depending on the circumstances, the example list in this section, the act with the plans and pursue the probable violation. Enforcement tool to address the issue, the notice amendment, and the non-probable violation warning letter. Section 3, enforcement procedure to provide the guidance and selecting appropriate enforcement. Example, the integrity management plan program applicable portion show the mission deficiency approach for the determination variance of 5 years. So assessment interval to provide 2, the procedures of the documentation describing the approach of the variance within 5 years. Interval 3, the assessment schedule 4, notification company with the documentation provided the PHMSA, inform the PHMSA variance of 5 years. Interval, the engineering risk analysis to determine the frequency of the integrity assessment, include the factors considered in making the determination. 6, the record to demonstrate the deficiency adequacy assessment determination for engineering basis variance. Documentation conversation the operator with the contractor personnel to identify the deficiency adequacy regarding the information to determine the variance of the 5-year interval, 5-year assessment interval to be by the engineering basis variance. Documentation action indicated evaluate the assure the integrity of the totally unavailable technology can be implemented for unavailable technology variances. Descriptive of the meaning of the take the provide understanding of the pipe of the condition, the equivalent that could be made, obtained with the assessment of the proof method in 195-452J5 with the technical justification to determine the equivalent understanding pipe condition for engineering basis variance. Documentation for the vendor that supply with the technology justifying the specific technology not available. 11, the records indicate the procedure that established variance from 5-year assessment intervals will not follow other special notations not noted. Alright, Hazardous liquid integrity management plan part 195 division date March 18th 2013 code section 195-452J and section title pipeline integrity management high consequent area existing code J with the continual process evaluation assessment of the maintained pipeline integrity assessment method. The operator must assess the integrity of the line pipe with the following method. The method of the operating selects LS assess low frequency electrical resistance well the pipe lap well to select suspected longitudinal seam failure must be capable of seeing the seam and integrity of the detection corrosion deformation anomalies. Internal inspection tools are tools capable of detecting corrosion deformation anomalies include the dents and gouts and grooves. Pressure test can conform with the subpart E with the SPART external corrosion directed assessment with 195-588 and 4 other technology operator demonstrate that can provide with equivalent understanding of the condition line of the operator choosing the option of the operation of the pipeline 90 days before conducting the assessment by secondly enough to address the fast wild number of the specified in paragraph M of the section. Origin code 195-7065 federal register 75378 December 1st 2000 last amended 195-8772 federal register 39012 July 17 2000. Interpretation summary is not noted. Advisory bulletin and alert notice summaries. Alright, establish maximum allowable operating pressure, maximum operating pressure, the record evidence, integrity management, risk identification, assessment, prevention, mitigation. PHMSA advisory bulletin remind operator with the gas hazard liquid pipeline with a responsible federal integrity management integrated management plan regulation of the form and detailed risk analysis integrated accurate data and information in the entire pipeline system, especially with the calculating maximum operating pressure, utilize the risk identification appropriate assessment method, preventive mitigated measures. Alright, notice for that. Liquid pipeline operated with the request for the volunteer to provide for the notification. Intent with the transport biofuels. PHMSA equipped the head liquid pipeline with the operator intent with the transport of ethanol, gasoline, the other pipeline, biofuel pipeline voluntary provided the advance note of the intent of the transport fuel facility cooperating and achieving the safety through the rest of the unoperated intent to the field test of the transportation biofuel pipeline notify the PHMSA such as in advance so the PHMSA can work with the operator to address the safety concern with the rise. PHMSA will be interested in discussing the steps of the operator to ensure the safety during the testing and so informing local emergency response official with the project trusted AP 1160 of the managing system integrated with head liquid pipeline, other certain reference material and sort of the system, bike hydrostatic testing evaluation, report of use of inline inspection tool, the assessment pipeline integrity of integrity assessment method, and low frequency lab weld longitudinal seam evaluation. Sections 5.0 pipe wrinkle study 5.3, section 3.0 dense study 4.0 stress corrosion cracking study 6.0 report use of the line inspection tool with the assessment pipeline integrity and mechanical damage section 6.2 for the PHMSA liquid integrity management supplemental guidelines continual process evaluation system Federal Register volume 65 number 232 Friday December 1st 2000 rules and regulations 7 page 75396 pipeline has liquid integrity management frequently asked session 6.1 what are the applicable integrity assessment methods 6.3 what are different requirements of the inspection overhead suspension pipeline bridges 6.4 what type of tool can operate even the continued integrity assessment by the internal inspection provide what type of the pressure could be assessed for the pipeline integrity 6.7 can the internal inspection perform with the deformation tool with the analysis pipeline term of the corrosion of the primary integrity with the specific pipe then segment well the PHMSA pipe line stable criteria with the minimum acceptable inline inspection tool capability e.g. or low resolution magnetic flux low the leakage tool acceptable the most high resolution to be used what for the operational line pipe save they have the pressure testing requirements to satisfy the state requirements of the suffice the satisfying integrity assessment requirement of integrity management rule 16 with the acceptable integrity assessment of the ERW pipe or lap of the weld pipe subtract with the reduction of the operating pressure to provide the equivalent level of safety provided with the paragraph the even the hydrostatic pressure reduction acceptable integrity assessment method will the pipe PHMSA pipeline safety liquid operative direct for the assessment process to allow with the gas transmission integrity management rule acceptable the other technology integrated assessment C18542 C1C 617 618. If the operator the assessment of the pipeline external corrosion data for the assessment of the another assessment method to ensure the deformation and anomaly study for the dents and gaps and grooves. 619 the direct assessment requirement containing ASMI B31 AS 2001 Apple would have the liquid pies 1620 of the new rule 195 588 permit operative direct assessment of the threat of the stress corrosion cracking. 621 can operate indirect assessment tool of the ECDA have not be listed in the table 2 of the NAAC RP 0502 2008. If the guideway of the ultrasonic test line with the ECDA process of the other technicals required notification for the time the ECDA required the direct extra direct examination of the meaning of the first time of the use of the recovered segment of the first time the ECDA as ever. So for the close the internal survey online survey qualify other technology at what point did the ECDA does only one move severe moderate minor intermediate schedule monitor what time frames apply with discover the condition presenting potential threat with the integrity pipeline with the direct assessment 628 can operate of the ECDA region of the process to start with the determine the sum of the region common features whatever the PHMSA expect for the ECDA feasible study how to be demonstrated over the apply with the restricted criteria the first time the ECDA is used. Can ECDA assessment options apply with a significant portion of above ground portion of pipelines that can be used in assessment ILI tools or hydrostatic testing? All right, will the PHMSA pipeline system review or operating notice to formally respond with the operator PHMSA pipeline communicate with respond with the specific community notification for broader industry? How will the operator of the PHMSA pipeline see the objective of the notification? Alright, guidance information 195.452J5 identify the method of the integrity assessment like the 195.452J5 identical with 195.452C11 with the baseline assessment section info with the specific requirement to low frequency ERW pipe and low lap weld pipes suspected of seam failure. The preamble final rule of the PHMSA except for the operative truth of the hydrostatic pressure testing method integrity assessment for the pipeline for the review the corrosion control monitoring program that the segment of the PHMSA inspector the review of the document evaluating and the operative choice of the pressure testing assessment method the Federal Register volume 65 number 232 Friday December 1st 2000 rules regulation page 75390 final order referencing and selected order directing assessment referencing we're going to skip example of probable violation adequate procedure the assessment method selected with reassessment appropriate with the pipeline specific condition with the risk factor identifying each segment failure to adequately justify the basis selection of the assessment method the failure to conduct to resolve the previous integrity assessment select with the assessment method future assessment 4 failure to select adequate procedure method to assess low frequency electrical resistant weld pipe or lap weld A suspected longitudinal seam failure method to assess the seam and integrity of the cable detecting corrosion, deformity, and anomalies. 5. Failure to provide adequate detection for the low frequency electric resistant welding lap weld of the pipe of the non-suspected seam and integrity. Issue failure to select appropriate assessment method to provide the suspected have the exhibited the crack-like feature that failure to adequately have the assessment method all segment that could affect the high consequent area. 8. Failure to adequately justify the assessment method the reassignment of failure to provide the youth the deformation tool where applicable not require the excavation of all evidence indicated the MFL tool runs. 10. Failure to perform the comprehensive review of the control program with the hydrostatic testing assessment technique. Hydrostatic pressure test does not meet the requirements of Part E of the Part 195. The ECDA method does not meet the requirements of 195-588. Integrated management program documentation does not recover the PHMSA when using other technology. 14. Failure to notify the PHMSA even other technology 90 days before conducting assessment. Or depending on the circumstances, some of the examples listed in section inaccurate with the plan to perceive the probable violation. The enforcement tool they address the issue of the notice of amendment and non-probable violation warning letter. Section 3. Enforcement proceed to provide guidance selecting the appropriate enforcement action. Example evidence, integrity management plan, or applicable portion of the admission of the deficiency determination assessment method. The 2. Proceed with the other documentation script of the assessment method. Selection 3. The assessment schedule 4. The engineering risk analysis determining the most significant integrity threat for the purpose of selecting the assessment method. 5. The records assessment method determination of the risk factor concerned with the result of the last integrity assessment result of the information risk analysis of the record determining and demonstrate the deficiency adequate for the assessment method determination. Several of the documentation compensation operator contract personnel identified inconsistent deficiency adequacy regarding the assessment method determination. 8. Records indicating the perceived determination assessment methods were not followed. Alright, Hazardous Liquid Integrity Management Part 195-318, 2013, 195-452K, Pipeline Integrity Management, High Consequence Area, K, what method of measure for the program effectiveness to be the operating program include the measure to measure where the program is effective the act assessing evaluating integrity pipeline with the protect with the high consequence area. See Appendix C for the part method of the can be used to evaluate program effectiveness. Origin code 19570 65 Federal Register 75378 and December 1st 2000 last submitted 19574 67 the Federal Register 1650 January 14 2002. Advisory bulletin use the meaning of the metrics control of the integrity management program evaluation. PHMSA issuing the advisory bulletin remind operative the gas have the liquid pipeline are the responsible federal integrity management regulations form evaluation integrity management programs using the meaningful metrics. Alright, other reference materials for the APL 1160 managing system integrity head liquid pipeline 195 appendix C5 the PHMSA liquid integrity management supplemental guideline program and evaluation. PHMSA head liquid integrated management frequency asked questions. Alright, 813 how will the operating effectiveness integrity management program. 815 integrity management portion of the rule 195-452F with all the pipelines with the impact with the high consequence include the pump station, the terminals, other equipment with the operator to comply with the rules of the facility. Guidance information operative required to develop the method of the program's effectiveness discover the guidance for the 195-452F7 the operative they have the method to measure the program effectiveness integrated management through the generally with the side of the 195-452F7 how the operative some of the progress of the developing program evaluating method of the program submission for the adequacy of the special issue for the generally side of the 195-452K probable violation. Example below there list of the operating programs issued. Although the language of 195-452K does not explicitly say that the program effectiveness evaluation method must be implemented to understand the program effectiveness evaluation must be performed. 195-452B the requirement of the operator to implement all the implement integrated management program. You found all the references we're skipping. For example, the probable violation adequate perceived evaluation perform the document integrated management program effectiveness evaluation failure to develop the adequate perceived conduct the integrated management program effective evaluation include failure to indicate the description performance measure for the use of the integrated management program documents. Failure to select performance measures that provide meaningful insight with the integrated related performance. Failure to establish the documentation frequency of the performance measure they have to collect with the frequency program evaluation within this measure of the metric of the integrated management program do not consider itself the overall measure of the program effectiveness number the relief of the effect of the hazard consequent error the whole threat with the whole volume relief of the percentage well volume is covered. The reflect the accomplish of the program of the number of mile of the pipeline, the number of anomalies found, the requiring preparing mitigation number of the right-of-way encroachment, to reflect the effectiveness of the existing preventive mitigative efforts. The failure include the threat specific to metric the number of leaks coupled the external and internal corrosion anomalies of the manufactured defects, third party operative the error, the overfill, overpressure tank. Equipment and non-pipe, the problems with the integrated management program failure include performance of the integrated management effectiveness evaluation. Failure to consider the segment specifically the issue with the relay of the opportunity unique with the operating environment, increase the number of the depth of the corrosion of the relay of the dam release, increase the threat of the mechanical damage, increase the one call of the chain of the operation resulting in increase the pressure cycle, increase the number of the cracks and anomalies in the operator performance goal 10. Failure to consider the Determine the component material fails to meet with the evaluation pipeline to determine deterioration provided the insight of the end of the useful life of the material component of the performance of measuring determination. 11. Failure to consider the trend of the leading indicator of the inadvertently overpressure in the right of way with encroachments, one call notifications, got an outage of the operating over the pressure, other safety devices, etc. Integrated management program. 12. The periodical review of the update of the performance measure that they are providing useful information on the effect of the integrated management. As actively consider the mention of the relay with the transfer to ethanol and bioethanol fuels. The failure to adequately consider the internal review of the audit integrated management program effect of the adequately respond to the performance indicator of the trend. 16. Failure to implement program improvement of the integrated management program effectiveness evaluation. Failure to adequately delineate responsible integrated program integrated management program effectiveness evaluation. Failure to improve the management of the program evaluation implementation. Failure to identify differences indicated problematic. Breakdown of the integrated management program. 20. Failure to indicate the adequate notion action of the improve the integrated management program. Alright, depending on the scope of some of the examples listed in this section may be the inadequate to perceive the probable violation of the enforcement tool to draft the relationship with the notice to remember the non-probable violation warning letter. Section 3, enforcement procedure with the guidelines selecting the appropriate enforcement action. Example, the evidence operated integrated management program and applicable portions of the admission for the deficiency plan program. 2, the prescribe the program and effectiveness evaluation internal audit. 3, internal external integrated management audit reports of the award documentation compensation from the operative contractor personal identify the inconsistent deficiency regarding the program evaluation performance measure function. 5, operative records indicate the program evaluation approach with the valve of the records incomplete. 6, the operative performance of the metric data determined by the other performance analysis, other special notifications. Alright. Has the Liquid Integrity Management Program 195.3 in March 18, 2013, 195.452L Pipeline Integrity Management High Consequent Area. L. What records must be kept? The operator must maintain review the during inspection written integrity management program. The the paragraph B of the section. Documents support of the decision also include the modification, justification, variance, deviations, determinations made with the action taken, and implementation value to each of the element integrity management program listed in paragraph F of the section. See appendix C with the part of the example of the record of the operator would be required to keep. Origin code 195.70, 65, Federal Register of 75378, December 1st, 2000. Last minute 195.74, 67, the Federal Register 1650, January 14, 2000. Interpretation, advisory bulletin, none. Alright, your other reference material for the API 1116 material, managing system integrity head liquid pipelines, appendix C. 6 of the example, the type of the records operator must obtain. Pipelines, the enforcement received the 4131 preparatory notice of the letter of the violation report March 7, 2011. PHMSA had liquid integrity management frequency asked question. 416, the specific information company baseline assessment plan with the PHMSA pipe safety except with the terrain with the inspection of the file with the example of the PHMSA pipeline safety retained with the board and segment. They could affect the high consequence area, the assessment method, the segment, the dates of the segment, the access, and to etc. The 630 would the pipeline expert the ACDA feasible study. 810 with the integrity management program documentation should be available. PHMSA pipeline safety and inspection. How long should the integrity management related documentation retain? Guidance information 195.452L was summary of the type of the integrated management documentation operator must maintain. The appendix C of the text of the elaborates of the paragraph providing guidance for the specific example of the documentation record the operator should maintain. There are some instances of both the record keep substantial violations or something that arise out of the same conduct within the situation of the general better decide with a substantial violation rather than the absence of record provided there of evidence support of a substantial violation. For example, the 195.452J3 requires the establishment assessment intervals using several information set of sort of the operator failed to perform required analysis within several of the assessment intervals within I have the record of an analysis in situation operator should be cited on 194.452J3 and not 194.452L. Separate violation 194.452L should not be issued. However, if only the possible obtaining information should be the records would be kept and be better to pursue the record record keeping violation. And then there's final orders. Alright, moving on. Example of probable violation, adequate procedures. Failure to adequately pursue the maintain records of applicable integrity management pipeline segment that could affect the high consequence error, the adequate documentation support decision, and alpha the action, the implement evaluating element of the integrity management program that would this would generally be cited under the quantum paragraph specific program that apply with the appropriate paragraphs under 195.442F. However, there are some of the instances that apply with the global with the entire integrity management program. Adequate mention of the controlling documents and ensure the chain with the doc track for the last revision being used available to document retain policy ensure that the appropriate documentation retain life of the pipeline now available. The operator does maintain the record identified in 195 appendix C6 depending on the some of the example if in the section act with the plans or procedure non-probable violations enforcement tool the draft would be notice of the non-probable violation warning letter section 3 enforcement procedure the provided and selecting enforcing action. Example of evidence integrity management plan documentation the procedure record of the event development integration with the integrated management program element. 2. Documentation supporting the integrated management program decision analysis. 3. Documentation supporting modification, justification, variance, deviation, determination of the integrated management program element. 4. Documentation supporting notification made with the PHMSA. 5. Assessment schedule. 6. The documentation retention control procedure. 7. The documentation conversation of the will operate with the contractor personnel inadequate, insistent, and inconsistency, deficiency, adequate regarding operating integrated management record keeping procedure practices. Other special notations not noted. Here, the Liquid Integrity Management Part 195, March 18, 2013, 195, 452, M, Pipeline Integrity Management, High Consequent Area, M, how if the operator with the how does an operator know for the PHM? The operator must provide the notification within section A to information determined in integrated management database website PRM. ISA, PHSA, PHMSA.imd, sending notification information resource of the pipeline safety pipeline has material safety management administration 1200 New Jersey Avenue, South Washington, D.C. 20590. Sending notification and information resource of the manager fast amount 202-366-7128. Origin code 7195 7065 75 378 December 1st, 2000. 195 89 73 Federal Register 31634 June 3rd, 2008. Other material reference and source is the PHMSA had a liquid integrity management frequency. Ask questions. How can notifications be submitted? Guidance information 195 452 M provided the different mechanisms the operator can use to notify the PHMSA and the notification provided by 195 452 in paragraph. In general, the operator failed to comply with the notification requirement of the integrated management. It should be decided on a specific notification requirement to fail to specify the example the operator needed to extend the assessment. The interval will be unable to fail to notify the PHMSA. 195 452 J42 should be set with the 195 452 M. Because of the 195 452 M basically lists the website, web address, mailing address, fast mobile number is not likely the code paragraph that will be cited with an enforcement case. As October 2012, the code paragraph that will only be cited with a notice amendment with the operative incorrect website address and the incorrect mailing address for submitting notification procedures. There may be some incident of safety related condition reports and must also be required in integrated management relevant related events. In these cases, the safety related condition reporting process must be followed with the integrated management notification requirements. Example of probable violation, adequate procedure for failure, communicate a notification PHMSA using a mail address, internet address, fast mile under 195 452 M. Failure to specify the correct mailing address, internet address, fast mile number, the communicated notification, operator integrated management documentation. Example of evidence integrated management plan or applicable portion show the omission of the deficiency process for submitting notification PHMSA to record the notification submitted PHMSA, document a conversation operator with the contractor person of identified inconsistent deficiency adequately regarding the options of the notification submitted to the PHMSA. And that has been a reading of your Hazardous Liquid Integrity Management Enforcement Guidance.